Hey! So good day mga idol! For today's video, we're going to discuss the 8 types of market. If you are an ABM student, I hope this video will help you to gain some new knowledge and info. So, ano pang hinihintay natin? Let's rock and roll! Bang! Before we proceed to the different types of market, let's define first the word market. A market is a type of place where two parties can gather to facilitate the exchange of goods and services. In the market, there are two types of participants involved, and they are called buyer and seller. If you don't know the meaning of buyer and seller, I'm going to explain it now. The role of the buyer is to buy some goods, equipment, or accessories in exchange of cash, while the role of the seller is to earn some cash in exchange of goods and services. So, for the first type of market called capital market, the capital market implies a financial market that provides institutional arrangement for raising funds of medium to long-term goals of a company. And it also facilitates marketing and trading of securities. And lastly, there are two types of capital market, the primary and secondary market. Enable you to understand more about these two, here's the illustration.
The capital market is divided into two categories, and they are called primary market and secondary market. Later, we will discuss what's the meaning and purpose of these two.
The second type of market we're going to discuss is called primary market. Primary market is the series or segment of capital market which deals with new securities. Enable you to understand more about primary market, here's the illustration.
The primary market is all about a company giving a new securities, or also known as stocks and bonds, to the investors for the long-term finance in their business.
So, these securities are also known as stocks and bonds, which this type of certificate are sold to raise money for starting a new company. And people who buy them are called investors. If you don't know what investor is, investors are the one who buy a new securities and enable their business grow large than before. The next one is the secondary market, where displays initially issued securities between investors. Enable you to understand more about secondary market. Here's the illustration.
The secondary market is all about a investor giving a securities to another investor, which the only difference is the one who gives it.
The fourth and fifth types of market, which is the spot and future market, are connected in each other because these two are both types of secondary market. But before that, let's proceed first to the fourth one, which is the spot market. So for the fourth type of market, known as spot market, is a type of public financial market in which securities are traded for immediate delivery, while the fifth one is the future market, which also includes in public financial market where the securities are traded on the next period of time. Now, for the sixth type of market, known as money market, is a place for borrowers and lenders to exchange short-term funds for fulfilling their liquidity requirements. If you are not familiar to the word I mentioned earlier, I put it at the end of the video.
In addition, the participants are divided into two categories, the organized segment and unorganized segment. The example of organized segment are banks, financial institutions, and corporates, while in unorganized segment are indigenous banks, money lenders, and medis.
Enable you to understand more about mortgage market, let's define first the word mortgage. A mortgage is any loan that pledges real estate as collateral. To be specific, mortgage market is the underlying structure that supports home lending through mechanisms intended to facilitate the free flow of funds so that lending can continue.
For example, some of your assets like property or house can be mortgaged in exchange of cash or debt.
And for the last one, called auction market. The auction market is a type of market where the object is determined by highest price, if the buyer is willing to pay or bid. Not only that, it also needs an approval if the seller or auctioneer going to take the offer. So, in conclusion, primary market happens between company and new investor. The secondary market happens between investor and another new investor. The goal of capital market is to finance the investor for the long-term goal of its business. The goal of money market is to finance the borrower in just a short period of time. The two types of secondary market are the spot and future market. The mortgage market are commonly happen in home lendings. And for the last one, auction market are traded directly between buyer and seller. Yes. I hope may natutunan kayo sa video na to, and don't forget to click the like and subscribe button para tuloy-tuloy ang ating kwentuhan at chikahan. Hanggang sa muli, paalam!